Trump's vice president called him Hitler in 2016. Let's see what J.D. Vance was thinking when he said that.
2016, you called your running mate Donald Trump unfit for the nation's highest office, and you said he could be America's Hitler. I know you've been asked many times, and you've said you regret those comments and explained you then voted for Donald Trump in 2020. But the Washington Post reported new messages last week in which you also disparaged Trump's economic record while he was president, writing to someone in 2020, quote, Trump thoroughly failed to deliver his economic populism. You're now his running mate, and you've shifted many of your policy stances to align with his. If you become vice president, why should Americans trust that you will give Donald Trump the advice he needs to hear and not just the advice he wants to hear? You have 2 minutes.
Well, first of all, Margaret, because I've always been open. And sometimes, of course, I've disagreed with the president, but I've also been extremely open about the fact that I was wrong about Donald Trump. I was wrong, first of all, because I believed some of the media stories that turned out to be dishonest fabrications of his record. But most importantly, Donald Trump delivered for the American people.
That's facts. There was a lot of maligning and slander of Trump. There was a lot of that, I'm not going to lie.
Rising wages, rising take-home pay,
and that's something that Trump does a lot of good stuff for, is the economy of this country, right? Like how people are doing in this country. We're talking about the regular everyday person. Tariffs would help people, right? That's the focus. I mean, he has a philosophy, he has an idea, and he's pushing it, and that's what he's trying to do, right? He's trying to make it execute. At the end of the day, you got it. You can't hate that. You know what I mean?
That worked for normal Americans, a secure southern border, a lot of things, frankly, that I didn't think he'd be able to deliver on. And yeah, when you screw up, when you misspeak, when you get something wrong and you change your mind, you ought to be honest with the American
I thought that was John McCain for a second.
People about it. It's one of the...
What's that guy's name again? It's funny how you forget, like, people who lose, you just forget them, bro.
Reasons, Margaret, why I've done so many interviews is because I think it's important to actually explain to the American people where I come down on the issues and what changed. Now, you pointed out to messages from 2020. Margaret, I've been extremely consistent that I think there were a lot of things that we could have done better in the Trump administration round if Congress was doing its job. I strongly believe, and I've been a United States Senator, that Congress is not just a
What's up with this guy's face, man?
Class debating society. It's not just a forum for senators and congressmen to whine about problems. It's a forum to govern. So there were a lot of things on the border, on tariffs.
I don't think that Congress is that intelligent. What did he call it?
To govern. So the class debating society. I strongly believe, and I've been a United States Senator, that Congress is not just a high-class debating society. It's not just a high-class debating society. Okay. Just a forum for senators and congressmen to whine about problems. It's a forum to govern. So
okay, fair.
There were a lot of things on the board.
I don't think these people are that intelligent for it to even be a high-class debating society, even if that was what you were going for. A lot of these people are dummies.
On tariffs, for example, where I think that we could have...
Really, like, I wonder sometimes, like, how do people get into these positions? It's like, dude, some of these people are fucking brain dead. Like, where'd you find this person, you know what I mean, to be in Congress or in the Senate?
Done so much more if the Republican Congress and the Democrats in Congress had been a little bit better about how they govern the country. They were so obsessed with impeaching Donald Trump, they couldn't actually govern. And I want to talk about this tariff issue in particular, Margaret, because Tim just accused...
The tariffs, banning institutional investors from buying homes. There's a lot of stuff that Trump does that's actually really solid if you believe if you're in his school of thought in terms of how to handle the economy and how to build a country and how to manage a country. And I see that much more clearly in recent times. And I actually agree with that ideology. I do think, again, the Republican Party has some issues, some serious issues. Some, like real breakers, man. Like, we're talking about like the J6 thing. I mean, what the fuck? How are we pardoning that? That's fine. We can look past that, right? Trump, okay. But I don't know how we pardon that. Of course, our foreign affairs, and especially in the Middle East, that's both parties. I mean, there's just stuff that makes it impossible to support that party. I do think a lot of their voters are also extreme racists. Like, that is a thing, And when we talk about, the ideology as a whole with respect to immigration, I understand, okay? You want to keep white nationalism and you want to keep America a country. or whatever, not just white nationalism, but like nationalism in general, like whatever America is. Let's not devolve that by bringing in people from all these other countries. Whereas the Democrats tend to believe it's more like, hey, we have America is the country on this planet where we're very diverse. People of every race are here, and that's their ideal for America. And it's like every culture, every race is America. Whereas the Republicans are more like culturally, they're more like, hey, like, that's not the case. America has its own culture. We have our own cultural identity, and we don't want to dilute that. I respect either. Here's the thing economically with curbing immigration, especially the H-1B thing and the direction that takes. If you curb H-1B is like 80,000 people. 80,000 people a year is not much for a 330 million person country. But if you're trying to take away companies' ability to bring immigrants in to do jobs, they're going to go elsewhere, and there are going to be even less jobs here. So that's a major concern that you have to consider. This is why I do feel reparations are a Republican ideal. I've said this before. Because at the end of the day, if you want to preserve the culture of America, giving or just the West in general, the global West, right? Giving reparations to these countries so that they can just stay put and stop immigrating so much and improve their quality of life, and just focus on their own countries would actually be a smart move in terms of preserving your culture. So that's just my thought on that. Okay, if you want to keep Britain white and keep your fish and chips or whatever, and not make it a tikka masala country, then give the tikka masala people some money, build some schools over there, improve the quality of life in tikka masala land. You see what I'm saying? I'm a tikka masala person, and I don't, I'm here. I was born here, and now I'm an American. Fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to perceive that. It's cool, man. I like America to an extent. I mean, obviously, like, I like football. I like the NBA and shit. I can't really leave now. I'm kind of locked in. All the things that I've built my life around are here. But would I have preferred to have been born in a different country, to be born in my homeland where people look like me, people talk like me, people respect me for just being their people? Can't say I wouldn't have appreciated that. So we live in a world now where nationalism's on the rise. And there's probably a reason for that. And I'm not saying anything about other races or anything. I'm just saying, like, there's certain things that you share with your country and your people and you know what I mean? And so, like, is it right for the West to just lose that completely? No, I don't think so. I think, honestly, the West is entitled to keeping their culture intact. I do believe that. The global West, it is. But at the same time, you guys did historically rip that from us, okay? As tikka masala people and other global South people, like you took that away, man. So give us some shit to work with, and then you know what I mean. That's on a macro level how I view the situation.
This of being national
Maybe there'll be less tikka masala-ing of your countries.
Sales tax. Look, the one thing.
Although I think tikka masala is actually like a British spin-off of Indian food. I don't think that's actually an Indian dish. Anyway.
You're probably surprised to hear me praising Joe Biden, but the one thing that Joe Biden did is he continued some of the Trump tariffs that protected American manufacturing jobs. And it's the one issue, the most pro-worker part of the Biden administration, it's the one issue where Kamala Harris has run away from Joe Biden's record. Think about this. If you're trying to employ slave laborers in China at $3 a day, you're going to do that and undercut the wages of American workers unless our country stands up for itself and says you're not accessing our markets unless you're paying middle class.
Fair. And that's the thing about Trump that you have to respect is that he's saying no, fuck that, right? If y'all want to do that, go do that and go sell to everybody else. You're not selling in America. America, we have the US dollar that backs the entire global economy. So without us, you can't do shit. And the fact that you're undercutting us and disrespecting our economy and our people is not going to happen. Bring that business here, or you will not be selling here. We'll be selling American goods to our own people. Price be damned. And to an extent, that makes sense, because in the long run, that'll work, man. Because infrastructure takes years to set up, but like that'll work. That'll work. Like, if you can have manufacturing and everything happen in America, and America be a self-sufficient country and not be dependent on the global economy, and just imports, that will behoove the people in the long run, I feel. Anyway, man, yeah, that's stuff. That's good stuff. J.D. Vance, I think that he's a strong presidential candidate coming up. But like, comment, subscribe, And peace and love, all right?